Hello, I'm Grant with Business as Usual English, and welcome to another episode of Phrasal Verb News, where we break down global headlines with useful phrases to boost your English. Now, today's story is straight out of a political thriller. The European country of Romania's top court calls off the first rounds of its presidential election after allegations of Russian interference stir up controversy. Let's dive in. To set the scene, Romania just had its first round of presidential elections, and the winner was Călin Georgescu, a man from the far right-wing party who was rather unknown just a few short months ago. So, how did he come out of nowhere to win the election? Well, the same way anyone gets famous these days, by going viral on TikTok. In the months leading up to the election, his content was all over TikTok, talking about Romania becoming more self-reliant, free of corruption, and protecting traditional values. This newfound fame allowed him to win 23% of the vote in the first round and advance to the final round of the elections that were supposed to be held last Sunday, the 8th. Now, on to the controversy. The highest court in Romania decided to nullify the first round of the elections and call off the second round due to evidence showing that the Russian government had been running social media campaigns to boost Georgescu's online presence. Now, to nullify just means to invalidate the results. Pretty much pretend they never happened. And call off means to cancel, like to call off a soccer match because of bad weather. The evidence brought forward by Romania's top intelligence agencies claimed that these campaigns included thousands of fake accounts, TikTok trends, and even rumors of $381,000 being spent to promote his content. For the record, his campaign claimed they didn't spend a single dollar on the campaign. Now, to bring something forward just means to present something. In this case, it's evidence of Russian interference, but you could also use it in more simple terms, like to bring forward an idea in a meeting. While Georgescu's sudden rise and the annulment of the election have stirred up significant controversy, not everyone agrees on what should have been done. Now, to stir up just means to provoke or cause a problem, like the person in the office who's always trying to stir up drama and gossip. Reformist candidate Elena Lasconi, who finished second in the first round and was set to face Georgescu in the final round, argued that the election should have gone ahead despite the allegations. She called the court's decision illegal, immoral, and a blow to democracy, insisting that the will of the Romanian people should have been respected. Now, to go ahead just means to continue. On the other hand, the Prime Minister supported the annulment, calling it the only correct solution in light of the evidence. Now, to stand up for or stick up for something just means to support and defend something. He emphasized that Romania's democracy must be protected, even if it means calling off the elections to uncover the truth behind this alleged interference. So what do you think? Is potential Russian interference a good enough reason to call off an election, or should the will of the people be respected no matter what? So that's all for the news portion of today's podcast. Now let's review some of the phrasal verbs again so you can use them in your daily life. After I explain the meaning of each phrasal verb, I'll ask a question. Now please try to answer the question out loud or in your head so you get a chance to practice the new vocab immediately. In the news story, we mentioned that Romania's top court decided to call off the second round of elections due to allegations of Russian interference. This just means they had to cancel it. This can be used in many situations. You can call off a meeting, a presentation, or even a product launch. Can you think of a time when something you were looking forward to was called off? How did it make you feel? Next, we talked about how the allegations of Russian interference stirred up controversy in Romania. This means to provoke or cause trouble. For example, the manager stirred up trouble by forcing everyone to work on the weekend. What's a situation where someone stirred up trouble unnecessarily? How did people react? How did you react? Next, we talked about how the court decided to nullify or annul the election results, meaning to take them back and pretty much act as if they never happened. It's commonly used in legal English. When one party violates a contract, the other party can claim the contract has been nullified or is null and void. What's a law that you think should be nullified? And why do you think it's no longer valid? After that, we talked about how the Romanian intelligence agencies brought forward evidence of Russian interference. This means to present something, like evidence in a court case or an idea in a meeting. For example, your boss might congratulate you for the great idea you brought forward at the last meeting. When asked their opinion of the government's decision to cancel the second round of elections, both of the final candidates stated that election should have gone ahead, meaning it should have continued. This is used to talk about events continuing despite setbacks, but is also commonly used in meetings to tell someone it's okay for them to speak. For example, in a meeting, you might ask your boss if now is a good time to share last quarter's sales figures. He would say, go ahead or go right ahead, meaning you have permission to speak. Think about a time when something went ahead despite the challenges. What was the outcome? While many were against the annulment, members of the current government stood up for it, meaning they supported and defended it. For example, if you see one of your coworkers is being treated unfairly or harassed, you should stand up for them and say something. Have you ever stood up for someone being treated unfairly? What happened and how did it feel? There you have it, our phrasal verbs and key words from today's episode. If you want to practice what you learned today, the best way would be to tell someone you know about this news story and try to use some of this new vocabulary in the explanation. And if you don't have someone to practice with, you can also practice by yourself by simply writing it down on a piece of paper or making a voice recording on your phone. The key is to try to use and practice this vocabulary in the next few days so you don't forget it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribe for more.